doing here, sorry. This one is our fully automated potato planting machine. What's going to be important with planting is your spacing. One of the most important things, you know, when we talked about the getting too big of an implement for your tractors and you could lose money. Well, there's another aspect when you're looking at planting. So if you get a planter that plants ridgetop to ridgetop 80, then you need to get a harvester that can harvest for a crop that is ridgetop to ridgetop 80, because they sell all different sizes in the market. And if you get one that's harvester that's too small, then you're going to create a lot of damage in your potatoes from cutting. So you think you're going to get all this benefit from using an implement, but you're actually going to be losing more because you're not calculating the right distances. So this one right here, these pipes that are going down that are planting our potatoes, from the center of them to the center of the next one is 80. So then when we start to go and bring our harvester down, I'll start to show you that from one disc to the other can fit exactly from one ridge to the next, to make sure that it's able to scoop and harvest 2 rows without getting into the next one to cut them. So that's where it's really important. The other one here is spacing. So a lot of people are saying, oh, I love size 1, and you know, because they can plant more acres, you know, but in reality, you're actually not doing something that's proper to your farm, because you're actually not being able to maximize what those seeds can do for you. Because if you spread them out, then you're not going to get as much harvest as you should. So that's why when farmers tell me, oh, I like size 1 versus size 2, I'm like, all right, well, what do you do in your spacing? Oh, I just do them all 1 foot. My gun boot, I do them 1 and 1. But you're not going to be able to maximize what you're doing on that acre if you don't reduce the spacing. So a size 1 should be a smaller spacing from one tuber to the next. When you use a size 2, it should be greater. And even some farmers, I think in Beaumet, because they like to Dutch robin, it's not always readily available, they'll even plant commercial, and those ones can be upwards of 2 feet between your potato to potato. So that's a really important aspect. The other aspect that this thing could do is this one gives us our inline fertilizer. So that means that this is going to be doing our spacing for our potatoes. This is going to put our fertilizer in there, and then you can see on the back, this one's going to be ridging it right back up. So you see our djembes that are in the back, and these ones, just like our adjustments that we can make for our depth in our last 2 implements. You see the springs that are here on the back. That one allows us to adjust to be able to make sure that we're getting the right depth and the right ridges. Now, this little bar that you guys are leaning up against here is something new that we actually just implemented. Because one of the downfalls that I found on this implement is that it creates ridges that are completely straight up. Now, if you get really keen, that after a rainstorm, and if your ridges are looking like this, after a rainstorm they look like this. It's because you got the same thing with your runoff, is that rain's hitting it and it's just running that soil off. So if you can see here, we're trying to imitate that. We want a ridge to go up, and then when it gets to the top, to become level. And what is that going to do for us? When that rain hits that level area, it absorbs into your ridge to be able to allow you to hold more moisture in your ridges, to be able to get you through some of those drought times. If you have a ridge that looks like this, that rain hits the side of it, it runs right down the side, runs right through your ridge and right out of your farm. you can't get that benefit of that moisture that's coming into your farm. So that's what we're trying to build here. It's not perfect yet, but we are trying to perfect what we're doing. So just like I've always said with everything else, is that we're continuing to work to be better. So we'll start to see with a little bit of planting. But does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, how do you set the application of fertilizer so that you can achieve the right amount?
So on the back side of this, and we'll be able to do, you guys will be able to go around and see, there's actual adjustments that we can make. So there's numbers on there. If we want to do 1 bag per acre, 2 bag per acre, 3 bag per acre, right underneath where I'm standing, there's adjustments that we can make to be able to add more fertilizer or less fertilizer. And then right under here, I think Durango, you can point to it, is where we can make adjustments for our spacing. So this one is driven by a wheel that you can see underneath. So this one is driven by the wheel that's underneath there, and that's what turns these turnstiles. So the faster this turnstile turns, the shorter the spacing is. The slower it turns, the wider the spacing is.
So is it determined by the speed the tractor is
And it'll turn a turnstile. So if we set this to larger spacing and the tractor goes quicker, it'll still maintain a larger spacing than if you had a shorter spacing and the tractor goes quicker.
Wanakuja watakaa tu hapa. Fertilizer box yake iko pale mbele.
The fertilizer boxes are back here.
So huyu akikaa hapa, kazi yake ni kuhakikisha hizi zote ziko na viazi. Isiruke juu. Moja ikiruka utakuwa na overspace. Ya itaangusha. Sawa.
So you need around
4 active, si mtu tu. Mtu ambaye ako na experience. Viazi zitamwagwa hapa, zitakuja hapa. Zikikuja hapa, so hapa kutakuwa na mtu ambaye kazi yake ni kuhakikisha hii mashimo
zote ziko na viazi.
Zote ziko na viazi. Juu moja isipowekwa pale chini itaruka. Na hizi shimo venye zinazunguka ina create hiyo spacing ya 30 centimeters. Moja ikiruka itaenda 60. So lazima hapa kuwe na mtu ambaye ana uzoefu. Ana uzoefu.
Inapanda.
So tuweke viazi.
Inapanda.
Tuweke viazi.
Si viazi si unaona niko hapa.
Ile viazi ndio itapanda kweli? Adjust.
Si unipe nisimame nipande.
Si naanguka hapo.
Kenye utafanya utakaa hapo uone.
Wewe kaa hapo.
Hata ikisonga.
Ina shida, si utakaa tu hapo.
Mimi kazi yangu hapa ni kusetia viazi. Kwa hivyo uangalie hapa sana mama.
Kuja basi.
Hebu nikae pale.
Wewe songa.
Kuja pitia hapa.
Hii usikanyage.
Yeah, let's pour some potatoes.
Viazi. Hata mada maka hapa tusaidiane. Wakikije hapa kuna bei. Kazi yake itateremkia hapa inaanguka. Wewe uhakikishe hapa. Hebu nataka hapa. Mnajua venye mnakawana?
Guys, for this demo, because we don't want this area planted, this area is resting. So we're not going to put fertilizer here, because we're going to come back and just harvest these things. So this is just a demo. But, you'll see fertilizers supposed to be going in, but this will show you the concept.
Sasa hatutaweka fertilizer kwa sababu hatutaki hapa ipande. So immediately tukifanya demonstration zitakuja tena zitolewe. Ya, lakini anaweza rafiki acha tufanye tu ya kawaida. Kutoa tu inaanza mara moja hivi. Ndio unashika hivi na hapa ndio msaidie.
So yeah, exactly. You guys are seeing good. Guys, right? For our planters that are going to be planting, it's good practice for you to always have your hands to the side and using both hands to fill. We're going to go slow for this one, so it's not going to be as difficult. But you always want to have the potatoes to the side. See each on each side you guys have, and then you always want to have potatoes in your hand so you can start putting them in.
Ukiona imeenda mbili imekaribia hapo usitoe. Ukiona imekaribia hapo ikiwa mbili
Yaani tuseme mbili zimeanguka hapo hapa, nataka kutoa moja hivi. Siache zianguke zote mbili.
So you guys are prepared. You got two. You got two. You got two in there.
Unaangusha tu hivi. Hivi tu.
Hivi yenye
Nyaina.
Okay.
ukitaka kupanda vizuri
hii shimo moja unapokienda hivi. Tunataka hata sisi zote
watu watoke sasa karibu, yule zitaenda pole pole.
Okay, once we start moving, this is going to start turning.
Itaanza kuzunguka.
So then keep filling those holes.
bora uhakikishe
Yeah, hivyo. Yeah, good. 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 Toa, itapanda mbili, toa moja, good. Harakisha isifike.
Tumia mikono miwili.
Unajua kuna watu wamezoea hiyo kitu na inaenda haraka.
Anaweza fanya amefunga macho.
Tumia mikono miwili. Moja ikiweka hapo, nyingine inachukua viazi.
Purity unacheza na viazi. Ile ya tumawe.
Yeah, sawa.
Macho active. Start. Unaangalia tu hizi vitu zisichivuke.
onyesha tu vile ataweka, ukimwekea anachanganyikiwa.
Weka tu moja weke. Unaweka hivi kwa concentrate na hiyo simu. Unaona hivyo? Moja tu. Hivyo. Stress. Usita. Sasa hii. Na make sure ina. Kama lazima ni.
Nani ndio kichwa kidogo? Now we can turn around and go to the back. All right, good work, guys. You guys are good planters. Passed. Now,
Wewe unichukue. Chukua.
Unichukue picha kwa hivi.
Nimekuchukua hata video. Kuja.
Harakisha.
Nichukue picha.
Sasa itakuwa perfect
Hata video.
Cheki. Huyu next.
You got a pole back there, Charles. Be careful. Go back a little bit further. Keep going. Okay. Little bit.
Usikakate wacha iendelee.
Should this one be ripped a bit?
No, don't put two.
It was this side on the way there. I think it would be that side.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but it's okay. We'll just explain what adjustments that have to be made when we get back there. It's a good
Okay.
way to explain.
Sawa, yeah.
Nasa hiyo hata time zinaenda haraka haraka.
Nini?
Video tu iendelee.
Video ni kuja.
Wacha tu iendelee.
Okay.
Yes sir. What's up? Vijana kilimo. Leo make sure umeingia kwa WhatsApp group. Hizo video zote. Chungu wewe. Zingia hapo.
Niko na haraka hata mimi naitumia mashini.
Hapa
ukilala.
Aliwa uko sawa. Wewe tafuta kazi bwana.
Hapa ukilala.
Hey.
Shamba itapanda.
Brother. Haya wewe. Na uko na experience.
Natoka na experience hapa. Experience, teacher.
Anika smart.
Hapa tu nikukaa tu. Wewe bora ukae kutondo.
Na ukae nini? Uwe
Wewe angalia.
Wewe ukitumia mikono yote ikuwe nini?
Bora sasa hapa uwe kama nani?
Chris.
Unaona ulipewa hapo.
Unaona inabeba mchanga mingi sana.
So
Kuna kitu nimenotice. Hii ni zile chuma zinafanya inabeba mchanga mingi sana.
Kuna hapa.
Kwa hivyo tunafanya adjustment zinastahili zifanyiwe. Unajua sasa hii ni yetu tunafanya modification.
Hiki kitu hii kibana juu.
Naona inafungua viazi.
We need to raise this a bit.
Raise up a bit, yeah.
There's a lot of yeah.
Kumbe tukikaa Afrika sisi wote ni wa Afrika.
Hiyo ni kazi ya kuenjoy. Huwezi lala.
So unaangalia mbegu zikiisha, unaambia driver imeisha. Wewe unarusha mpaka huko chini.
Good work, guys.
So now we go to the harvesting area. We wait for the harvester to come. Okay, come. Kujani hapa. Yeah. Yeah, okay, juu tumefanya.
This one is bridge here where the potatoes So you guys can just stay seated.
Haya, tokeni aende brother.
Turn around. So these guys did a great job.
Yeah, ilikuwa inafanya hivyo. Unaona
But what I would say
ilikuwa inafanya hivyo.
is that us as an operator, because you can see how some of them get flat.
Sasa ndio tulikuwa
Adjustments that you
tunajaribu.
have to make. Now I wanted to show that purposefully because if you're a person who's planting or slacking or your supervisor,
Ama mnaenda na yeye.
because you can see how some of them made some ridges. You see over there became flat. They're all adjustments that you need to make for your tractor before you do some testing. So this would be like a test run of a little small area that we would do if we're really doing this planting. Then we would make adjustments of higher in this side or higher in that side, making adjustments to your springs. But essentially, like how you see it here, this is how all of them are supposed to look. Because remember, we're talking about this is a ridge, and then you have a flat area here. This is essentially what you want. So why we put these things on the back to flatten this out, now we'll give it an easier way for our potatoes to come up. It'll be able to absorb more moisture. So once these plants come out and they become about 6 inches high, we'll now come with a top dressing and then we'll re-ridge it. Now we want these ridges after this to be almost double that size. So then the plants will be here. Now we'll come put our fertilizers in the sides of the rows here. Then we'll come with our ridgers. And then by the time we ridge it, you should only have about 2 to 3 leaves that are still above your surface. Sometimes even farmers like to cover your whole plant, and then it reabsorbs with high vigor to come up again.
Some farmers say that once you cover it with too much soil,
If it's too much, like if you're going up and like you're putting your potatoes, your leaves underneath about another 3 inches of soil, 4 inches of soil, then it'll be difficult for them to come out. But if you're coming and just topping them, they shoot out even sometimes with more vigor than they've had when they just sprouted. So it does, if you do put too much soil on top of them, then it's going to be detrimental. You put a little bit on top, you know, and not have them come out, then they can shoot again. Yeah. But so our planters, I gave them an A+, our people that were on there. But our tractor driver and our operators, I would say with this is probably about a C. So we could have did better, but you got the concept of what we're doing. So this is what you want to have. And even when you're doing your planting even manually, you want to try to imitate this as much as you can. So once your land is flat and rotivated, you go through. For us, what we teach is that you come through, you put a little bit of fertilizer that you want on your soil. You come through with your djembe, mix it just a little bit. You don't want that fertilizer going very deep into the soil. You want it very easy for your potatoes to access. So you go through, put a little bit of fertilizer on your surface, mix it in a little bit, then you go right on the surface, put those potatoes right down, and then you take all the soil that's loose in between and create this.
what if you do broadcasting fertilizer?
Broadcasting is okay, but the only thing you got to be careful with, and this is something that I even recently learned, is that you gotta determine if your fertilizer can leach very easily. Like some farmers who like to use CN or like to use urea, that one is the easiest that can leach. So during your planting, you got to remember that tuber that you're putting in the ground has no roots. So like in the beginning, you have to have fertilizers that are going to stay stable and can't leach very easily, because they can't actually take up that nutrients until they start to grow those root systems. So if you're putting something that can easily be leached out, like urea or CN, and there's a couple other ones that do the same thing, then you might lose all that nutrients to leaching before that potato even got any roots to take it up. So then you're going to notice that when they're sprouting, they're going to have no vigor at all. And then you're going to have to come through and try to be battling to get that crop to be able to start to get some vigor again. So yeah, absolutely. That's where, like if I had this here, if I was you as a farmer, when that thing got about 6 inches, I'm coming through with the top dressing and ridging. No, I wouldn't. No, for me, like for when you're top dressing, like farmers think that they want to put it right next to your stem. So that's causing your plant to not do too much work. No, it causes scorching, but it's also making it so easy for your plant that it doesn't have to work. So you want your plants to work for you. So you want them to be able to spread those roots out to be able to go get those nutrients. Because what that does is that then spreads out your potatoes. So when you keep your top dressing just right along there, you ever see potatoes that all are bundled up just in one little area? It's because those root systems didn't have to go out and be able to search for that nutrition. So what the top dressing should be is on your sides, and then you come up and ridge it back up so that those root systems are forced to be able to go out and be able to get that nutrition. And then you get potatoes that should be more spread out.
So you're not supposed to put just below the...
No. It can cause scorching if you don't get any moisture, and then it's making it easy. Like you want to, one of the things, and this is a whole nother concept, and I don't want to confuse you when I say it, but one of the concepts that we use in the U.S. is known as nutrient deficiency of nitrogen. So one of the things that if we try to trick our plants is saying that if you don't give it as much nitrogen when you're planting, it forces them to go into a little bit of a stressful situation. And what that does is that creates more roots. So then if you hit it with nitrogen after that, when it's already created its root system, then that enables the plant to be able to take up more nutrition. So that's a whole nother concept that as we get smarter in what we're doing right now, that we'll start to teach. But if we can start to get these guys healthy, start planting it right, get the nutrition where it needs to be, then we start to grow and grow and grow as farmers and start to use some of those techniques to even take us to the next level. Because you're looking at farmers in the U.S. Who, if they don't get 30 tons an acre, then they're getting angry that they did bad. 30
tons.
Yeah.
1 acre.
You can get up to sometimes almost like 80, 85 tons per hectare.
Oh, per hectare.
No,
80
80 per hectare.
But
80,
for us-
85.
but
So you're
for us
looking at about
maximum-
30 per acre.
But for us, around 7 to
What?
10 tons per hectare.
7
Exactly.
to 8.
Yeah.
10 ni wangapi wanapata?
Per hectare. Hectare.
Oh.
Hectare.
I told you that you guys are having a little something going on up there. That's But there's all, we got to take it one step at a time. Let's start getting us from 8 to 10 to 12 to 15 to 20.
Very nice.
Yeah. But all of those can't be achieved if we don't have healthy soil. And that's the one thing that we need to really start to turn around on is knowing what's in our soil and keeping it healthy. Because then we won't, if we just keep deteriorating our soils, we're never going to get there. But just like the environment, like I was telling you, if we don't start to do some things to change around our environment, that can't be fixed. The same has to do with our soil. If we don't start to take care of our soil, then it's going to go off. But there's so many easy things to be able to feed it, especially with organic matter, or those who do rotation. They put residues back in there, let them disintegrate in your soil, or if you need to take it out, put it in a compost pile, then put that compost back in there. There's so many small things that each one of us has a cow, each one of us has some sheep. Put that manure back in there, let that break down in your soils, and then you'll get a lot more benefit. Any questions about planting? Satisfactory. Yeah. Okay, good. So, but if you can try to imitate this as much as you can, I think you'll benefit. By the end, your mound should be up to here, and it should be out to here. Should be like this. And if you put that top dressing along the side, those roots are going to come out and fill that whole area. Don't limit yourself to a little small.